Where to go, Zermatt or Saas-Fee? You probably won't have the time or the budget to visit both of them, so you will have to make a decision. I know that can be hard, but that's why I made this video. I'm going to assist you so that you will know how to make a smart decision. Now let's first talk about where the two places are located. They're actually both in the canton of Valais and they're just separated by one big mountain. And both of them, they're famous tourist destinations. Traveling to both of the places works nearly the same. You will have to arrive first to Visp, then you can either drive up by car to Saas-Fee. With Zermatt, you will have to latest get out in Tesch and then you'll have to take a train. If you're only going to take public transport, there's a train from Visp to Zermatt, and from Visp you have to take a bus up to Saas-Fee. Now let's talk about the first thing, and that would be the Hausberg. That is the principal mountain in both places. In Zermatt you have the Matterhorn. That is undoubtedly one of the most famous and uniquely shaped mountains in the entire world. The Matterhorn, it has this beautiful pyramid shape. Because of this it looks really attractive. The Matterhorn is probably one of the top 3 most talked about mountains in the entire world and definitely a very attractive photo subject. In Saas-Fee you have the Allalinhorn. It's nice, but of course it's not as unique as the Matterhorn in Zermatt. In fact, you can also see the Allalinhorn from Zermatt itself, although I would say the view to that mountain is definitely much nicer from Saas-Fee. So here you can see Zermatt is definitely stronger when it comes to that part, but no worries. Both places, they have their pros and cons. Saas-Fee might not have the Matterhorn that looks very attractive, but it's the village of the glaciers. Yes, there are also glaciers in Zermatt. You can see them up in the Klein Matterhorn, you can see them up on the Gornergrat, but from the village in Zermatt you cannot really see many glaciers, and here Saas-Fee is definitely a winner. Saas-Fee can see a lot of glaciers and they also feel quite close, although yes, they're melting at an alerting rate, and this is something that really worries me, but that anyway applies to both of the places. There are many glaciers in both of the places, although Saas-Fee is definitely more famous for that. There are also ice caves. So if you go to the Klein Matterhorn in Zermatt, there you can visit the glacier paradise. It's really beautiful. You'll have a lot of ice sculptures with traditional motifs of the canton of Valais. Looks really nice, but in Saas-Fee you have the world's largest man-made ice cave. You also have a lot of sculptures, and what's really nice, they're lit up in different colors. This is, by the way, not the case in Zermatt's glacier paradise. Both of the ice caves, they have something very unique. In Saas-Fee you have the churches carved into the glacier. Really beautiful in my opinion. In Zermatt you have the Star Lounge, which is the highest located bar in all of Europe. Unfortunately, I was never there when the Star Lounge was open, so I really hope in my upcoming visits to the Klein Matterhorn I can enjoy a drink up in the Star Lounge. Now let's stay at the Klein Matterhorn. It's a place with a fantastic panorama. You can see the Swiss Alps, you can even see down to Italy, to the Val d'Aoste. By the way, that's French speaking in Italy, very interesting. But in general, I feel when it comes to the views, here Zermatt is really strong. So you not only have a fantastic 360 degrees panorama up on the Klein Matterhorn, you can also enjoy that up on the Gornergrat. The glaciers, they will feel quite close. You can also see the Mount Rosa massive, and even if you go up there, you have a very scenic train journey. So this is something very unique. You can also take the cabin up to the Rothorn. You have 3 fantastic lookout points in Zermatt and even more than that. In Saas-Fee you have the Mittelallalin. Yes, it's very nice, but you don't have a 360 degrees panorama. You have a great view over the Alps of Valais. You can see the village of Saas-Fee, and on the east you can also see the mountains that are bordering with Italy. You can also go up to the Hannig. It's quite nice. And then, in my opinion, the best viewpoint in Saas-Fee, that would be up on the Pavilion. Unfortunately, I do not really know whether you can go there as a pedestrian during summer, but what I know is during winter it is definitely possible to access that point. There you really have a nice view. You can also see the valley called Saastal, the village of Saas-Fee and the Alps, and that I feel looks really impressive. Zermatt might be better when it comes to the views, but there's one thing I have yet not mentioned, that would be the Matterhorn and the weather. The Matterhorn is not always visible, so even if it's going to be sunny and you have a perfectly blue sky weather, during summer it is very common that the Matterhorn is going to be covered in clouds. And I think this is a really sad thing, because many of you would be going to Zermatt to exactly enjoy these views with the Matterhorn. And if the Matterhorn is just covered in the clouds, then that is definitely going to partially ruin your experience. It has happened many times to me. So here you really need to know better travel to Zermatt when the weather in general is dry, and that would be during September, October or during winter. Then you have a very high chance to see the Matterhorn, but during summer it's always a little bit a game of luck. In Saas-Fee, that actually doesn't really matter. If some of the summits are covered in the clouds, well, that's fine, because you don't have one single isolated mountain like the Matterhorn that would stand out. Because of that, it's absolutely okay if there are some clouds. In fact, I feel it makes it even look more interesting. I mentioned both places they are touristy. Zermatt is very touristy. Zermatt is world famous exactly because of the Matterhorn. Saas-Fee is world famous for the glaciers and Wham's Last Christmas song that was recorded there. But because of the Matterhorn, Zermatt attracts a lot more people during the entire year, and at times Zermatt can be very crowded, especially during the peak season, which would be during the months of July and August, and then in winter from December to mid-March. For myself, I don't really have a problem with crowds, but if you really prefer a little bit more quiet, then definitely Saas-Fee is going to be the right destination for you. This point is also going to be very important, especially if you are traveling on a budget: the prices. Zermatt is in general more expensive than Saas-Fee. That includes the prices for the hotels and also for the attractions. So let's say you want to go up to the Matterhorn Glacier Paradise, it's going to cost you 95 Swiss francs. To go up to the Rothorn is 81, and if you want to access the Gornegrad, that one will cost you 92 Swiss francs. Zermatt is more expensive. In Saas-Fee you can definitely save a little bit more money. If you want to go to the Allalinhorn, it's going to cost you 79 Swiss francs. That also includes your visit to the glacier cave. Very nice. If you go up to the Hannig, it only costs you 49 Swiss francs. Of course, it's not as impressive as Rothorn, but it's still very nice, especially if you want to go for a hike. And then going up to the Pavilion, unfortunately, I don't really know. I traveled there only on skis, so it's included in the ski pass. I don't even know if you can go there in summer, but if you can, then you will have to ask at the ticket office. Now, I named you these prices. These prices, they're just as of up to date 2024. It might get more expensive in the future because of inflation and other factors. The hotels in Zermatt, they're a little bit more expensive than Saas-Fee. I would say in Saas-Fee you can probably save on average around 100 Swiss francs per night. So Saas-Fee has very good hotels, but they're just a little bit less expensive because the demand and the number of tourists coming to Saas-Fee, it's less than Zermatt. I talked about hiking. Zermatt and Saas-Fee, they're really great for hiking, but I think here Zermatt is a little bit stronger. You have this 5 Lakes trail, it's really scenic. If you have good weather, you can even see the reflections of the Matterhorn. Very nice trail. You can also go to the Riffelsee. Over there you can also see the reflections of the Matterhorn. Fortunately, I managed to get to see that. In my opinion, the Riffelsee, that's the nicest lake in Zermatt. There are a lot of hiking trails, and I think they're just a little bit more scenic than in Saas-Fee. But in Saas-Fee, what you can do that is not possible in Zermatt, or at least it's not going to be as exciting, is you can go for a hike on the glaciers. This is really super cool, and this should be one of the primary factors. If you're really a glacier enthusiast, then Saas-Fee is going to be the right destination for you. Unfortunately, myself, I've never been hiking on a glacier my entire life, but I definitely want to do that, and surely I'm going to try that out in Saas-Fee. When it comes to the village feeling, here I would say Saas-Fee is really stronger. Zermatt, it is very big. In fact, it is already feeling like a big town or even a small city. Actually, Zermatt has around 10,000 inhabitants, and I find that's really a lot. Zermatt is very, very big. It's nice, but the village feeling at times, it really gets a little bit lost. But of course, there are still spots that are very quiet. For example, the Hinterdorfstraße, that's the old part of Zermatt. But then even at my secret spot, these places, they're really nice and also more quiet. In Saas-Fee, you also have an old part, it's on the rock, and personally I prefer that. It's really, really nice, it looks super cool, and you have so many ways of how you want to walk around. You can take great photos, and in general it's less busy, because in the Hinterdorfstraße you still have a lot of people walking through it. Saas-Fee overall feels less crowded and more quiet. Even if you're walking in the alleys and the streets, Saas-Fee always feels more relaxed, and you really have the feeling that sometimes it's just all alone. And this is something that I really prefer in Saas-Fee. At Zermatt, especially at the Bahnhofstraße, you have a lot of shops. I would even say that Zermatt has its shopping boulevard. There are a lot of famous brands with shops, for example IWC, Swatch and so on. Some people, they prefer it a little bit more commercialized, then Zermatt is definitely great. If you prefer it a little bit more traditional, then Saas-Fee will be probably more cozy for you. The next thing would be the church. I really love churches, and here I have to say the church in Zermatt, personally I prefer it. It looks a bit more traditional and it's just very nice. Even the interior is really beautiful. The church in Saas-Fee is more modern. It's also nice, but I'm more fond of traditional designs. The next point would be the hotels. Here I feel in terms of choices, Saas-Fee and Zermatt, they're exactly the same. You have many top-notch hotels and you also have cheaper hotels that are more budget-friendly. In Zermatt you have many amazing hotels. I've stayed at some of them. You have the Hotel Christiania, you have the Hotel Sonne, really beautiful with a great spa. Then you also have cheaper hotels like the Jägerhof or the Beau Rivage, and of course many more. What you need to know when you want to book a hotel in Zermatt, the demand is very high because many tourists are traveling, and here it's really important, you have to book in advance. If you're too spontaneous, probably your favorite hotel is already going to be fully booked. In Saas-Fee, the stress for booking is a little bit less, but of course during peak season, many of the great hotels are going to be fully booked. This is also because there are less hotels in Saas-Fee. When it comes to the quality, it's exactly the same as in Zermatt. Of course, the hotels are different. For example, to mention some of the best hotels in Saas-Fee, the Walliser Hof or even the Capra, I stayed at both. They're really, really nice. They have a great spa area. And personally, I really love the Hotel de Capra. Yes, I had a paid collaboration with them, but still, this really comes from the bottom of my heart. The Hotel de Capra, it is really amazing, and I had one of the best ever hotel experiences in my entire life up there. So in Saas-Fee, you really have great hotels. Long story short, when it comes to hotels, both places, they're equally good. Now, the last point would be skiing. I'm only going to briefly mention that. I'm going to actually make a big video that is only going to compare Saas-Fee versus Zermatt when it comes to the ski resort. But just to mention a few points, Saas-Fee is very snowsure. In Zermatt you have the many views of the Matterhorn. You can also cross over to Italy. This is really cool. But if you really want to know which ones are the best ski resorts in Switzerland, for that I made a separate video. By the way, in both of the places you can go for summer skiing. That means when it's going to be very warm and you have a lot of hours with daylight, you can still go for skiing, whereas in most of the other parts of Switzerland you cannot do that because it's just too warm. Saas-Fee and Zermatt, at the very higher altitudes you can still go for summer skiing, but I don't know how much longer that's actually going to be possible because the global warming is definitely stressing out the glaciers a lot, and many of the ski resorts that previously offered summer skiing, they already closed down. Now I really hope that this video could help you in making a decision whether you want to stay in Saas-Fee or in Zermatt. Personally, I really love both places for different reasons. Now if you want to know which ones are the best ski resorts in Switzerland, then I'm going to see you over there. And otherwise, if you're more interested in something else, then let's meet in this video.